Looking back, one of the things that I've learned from university is the importance of getting academic accommodations when you require them. So what do I mean by academic accommodations? So if you have an illness or a disability, for example, oftentimes these are grounds for you to get accommodations to help you succeed in your course. In those instances, make sure that you always, go to your academic counselor and get accommodations because, for example, if you've fallen ill right before an exam or a large assignment and you're not feeling well and you're just not in the right mind of state to even study or do research or anything, this is going to impact you academically, and the consequences could be quite severe because it may impact your chances of getting into a specialization of your degree that you want to. It may impact what employers think of you if they ever ask for your transcript and you do really poor on a course. Or it may also impact your grades for getting into grad school if that's what your end goal is. So looking back in my undergrad years, I was definitely not someone who pursued academic accommodation, even when I was sick. There was a time where I had constant migraines and I couldn't really study. I couldn't really sit up. I was always in bed, but I didn't even think about going to get academic accommodation. I just tried to push through as much as possible. I thought, next day I'll be better, and it didn't. And in the end, I had to cram for a lot of my courses and I couldn't really study that well, and my grades definitely took a beating because of this experience. So looking back, I should have definitely gotten accommodation. And to be honest, you're quite a fool if there's something going on in your life and you're not pursuing the accommodation, because accommodations are there for a reason. Is to make sure students are still able to succeed, even if they have background things going on. It's intended to help students and not to penalize students in any form. So if you do have if you do have a need for accommodation, definitely reach out to your professors or academic counselors. And now being a prof, whenever I see students struggling, I always, tell them accommodation is always an option. Whether or not they choose it, it's a different story. But I think if the only reason that's limiting you from seeking academic accommodation because you're scared or you're frightened or you don't know what the process is, then these aren't really reasons, in my opinion. Reach out to your prof, ask them. Reach out to your academic counselors, to your department chair, ask them. I'm sure they will let you know who else they can reach out to or what the process is and answer your questions. But definitely, if you are just afraid of being declined or not even thinking about this as a potential possibility, then for those of you who are listening to this podcast, make sure you actually think about academic accommodations, especially if you have grounds for it. It's definitely a very useful tool, and it's a very effective tool as well. It gives you the time to rest, whether it be to go through a morning or you're currently sick and you need to get better, or you might need a super quiet room to do your exam because you have anxiety, etc., those kind of reasons. Make sure that you do reach out to accommodations, because it will create the system and an ecosystem to ensure success for you, and you need that success in university in order to reach your end goals at the end of the 4 years of your degree.